Christmas in Washington. A holiday celebration from our nation's capital starring Debby Boone, Diahann Carroll, Roger Mudd, the United States Naval Academy Glee Club, John Schneider, Eric Severide, the Shiloh Gospel Choir, Dinah Shore, and then Vereen.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from sin and spar when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
The sounds of joy to the world echoing through this beautiful hall, we welcome you to help us share the beauty of Christmas in our nation's capital with some outstanding artists and some outstanding local residents and their families here. We hope to share the beauty of the season and the spirit of Christmas here in Washington.
Christmas in Washington is presented by E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. By Nice and Easy Hair Color. It sells the most, it conditions the most. And by Atari, the leader in home video games for fun the whole family can share.
These families are finding out about home computers. The family with the Atari home computer found
Lots of memory and ways to use it.
the other.
Plenty of memory.
Not so much to remember.
The Atari family found
Galaxian has graphics like the arcade.
the other.
We can't play Galaxian.
And while the Atari family found
We got our money's worth.
the other got a good price and
You get what you pay for.
over 2,000 programs with the world's most popular games. But sorry, only with Atari home computers.
It's a funny time to ask, but did you look into those investments? I asked my broker. And? Well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And E.F. Hutton says that...
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Good evening, and welcome to Christmas in Washington. I'm here with a few of my dates. We are here in this great hall of the National Building Museum, the institute that salutes our architectural heritage. It used to be called Pension Hall, and in 1885, Grover Cleveland chose it as the site for his inaugural ball. And then, after that, many other presidents decided to have their celebration after taking their oaths of office. They say on a quiet night, if you listen real carefully, you can hear the strains of Happy Days, A Here Again, and Hail to the Chief. But tonight, the halls will echo with the sounds of Christmas, beautiful Christmas music, traditional carols, contemporary music songs, Christmas songs that honor the holidays, and great gospel melodies that raise the rafters in praise of the Christ child. We will hear of the history and tradition of Christmas as it has been celebrated for over the past 200 years in Washington. And hopefully, we will start a few traditions of our own, one being to have the United States Naval Academy Choir sing a medley of memorable songs of the season with the extremely talented Diahann Carroll and John Schneider.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away, Christmas is here, bringing a cheer to young and old, young and the bold, ding dong, ding dong, that is a song, big jungle ring, all caroling, one seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air, oh, how they pound, raising the sound, Lord, and they're telling the tale, gaily they ring, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here, ding dong, that is a song, big jungle ring, all caroling, ding dong, dong, ding. All the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, go cares away. Christmas is here, bringing a cheer to young and old, young and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong, that is a song, big jungle ring, call caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, roaring bells, telling the tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here, ding dong, that is a song, big jungle ring, call caroling. Ding dong, ding. Dawn on its end, dawn without end, their troubles come to every home. Ding dong, ding dong, home.
Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play.
And wild and sweet their words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Dashing through the snow,
in a one-horse open sleigh, all the fields we
laughing
go,
all the way.
laughing all the way.
Bells on bobtail ring,
Bells on bobtail ring,
making spirits bright.
making spirits
What
bright.
fun
It is to sing a sleighing song, a sleighing song.
Just hear the sleigh bells ring-a-ling, ting-ting, ting-a-ling too.
Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you.
Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the snow. We're riding in a wonderland of snow.
Giddy up, it's grand. Just hold in your hand. We're riding along with a song of a mystery fairyland. Let's take that road before us and sing a chorus or two. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Silver bell, silver bell, it's Christmas time in the city. Ring and ring, jing-a-ling, soon it will be Christmas Day. It's the time here when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say,
Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true.
and this song of mine in three-quarter time wishes you and yours the same thing too.
What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch our keeping. This is Christ our King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. Joy, joy, for Christ is born, the babe, the Son of Mary.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and the children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. And I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. So call out the holly, and on the brightest string of lights I've ever seen, slice up the fruit cake. It's time we hung some tinsel on that evergreen bough. Oh, we need a little Christmas right this very minute,
Candles on the window,
and carols at the spinet. Yes, we need a little music, need a little laughter, need a little singing, ringing through the rafters. So we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New
You renew your skin's glow with moisturizers to help keep it younger looking. Now you can renew your hair to keep it younger looking too. Introducing the Clairol Color Renewal System. Because like skin, your hair can age, losing its luster, vitality, and even color. The Color Revitalizing Gel and Conditioning Revitalizing Treatment renew the vibrancy of your natural color with enriched depth and luster, replenishing it to a young, healthy look with tons of new volume. The system is easy and so gentle it blends away in 6 shampoos. So renew the youthful beauty of your hair with the Clairol Color Renewal System. Because your hair is as important as your skin.
Clairol has the power to make you beautiful. Do-do-do, do-do. Clairol has the power to make you beautiful. Do-do-do, do-do.
Only from Atari. Made especially for systems from Atari. The video game that lets you help E.T. get home. Just in time for Christmas. Happy happy holidays.
Wednesday, it's Real People's pre-Christmas party.
Oh, boy.
Then the school hunk wants Natalie, and Blair's green with envy on facts. And a holiday storm puts the Keatons in a deep freeze.
Oh, great. Now we're going to be stuck here together.
Family ties. Then Quincy fights the Japanese underground.
Don't forget, that's Wednesday on NBC.
Thursday.
Colonel's dead.
Shocked by the death of his favorite teacher, Danny goes on a rampage that could get him expelled.
Camatullo.
On Fame.
That's it.
One of the most important institutions in Washington since the earliest days of the city has been the press, now known as the media. We've asked one of the top journalists who served in Washington for many, many years to tell us how Santa Claus and a newspaper came together to become what is known as an American tradition. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Roger Mudd.
Washington's editorial writers and some TV commentators like to think they are powerful and that their words will be remembered. That happens only rarely, as much as we hate to admit it, but occasionally an editorial will endure because it touches the human spirit. One day in 1897, 85 years ago, when another Republican was in the White House, William McKinley, the editor of the New York Sun got a letter from a young reader, Virginia O'Hanlon, 115 West 95th Street, who wrote, "Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus?" The editor turned the letter over to one of his assistants, Francis P. Church, for an answer. And what Mr. Church wrote 85 years ago became one of America's Christmas classics. Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe except what they see. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. How dreary would be the world if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Not believe in Santa Claus? You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus, but even if they did not see Santa Claus, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that's no sign there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not, but that's no proof that they're not there. No Santa Claus? Thank God he lives, and he lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood. Everyone has a Christmas favorite, whether it's the Sun editorial or a short story or a song, and believe it or not, presidents are no exception. Abraham Lincoln loved We Three Kings, George Washington, While Shepherds Watched Their Flocks at Night, and John Kennedy enjoyed the lilt of silver bells. I don't know what President Reagan's favorite song is. There are a lot of things he doesn't tell me, but all of us know that high on the list of everyone's favorites is the song Dinah Shore is going to sing for us now.
Christmas future is far away. Christmas past Every time I come to Washington, I am stirred with our sense of history. I am filled with the feeling of the continuity of our country. And that is never more outstanding in our lives than when we are privileged to visit the White House. We had just such an opportunity, just as Christmas celebration was getting underway at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Welcome to the White House. Although this house is the official residence of American presidents, it really belongs to all the people of the United States. And many will be visiting here in the days ahead to see their house decorated for Christmas. The traditions of a White House Christmas are as varied as the families who've lived here. Only our first president, George Washington, didn't live in the White House. It was still being constructed. John Adams, the first president to move into the White House, wrote how cold the house was that first Christmas. Thomas Jefferson is known to have played his violin while his grandchildren danced in the East Room. And it was Benjamin Harrison who placed the first Christmas tree in this house upstairs in the family quarters. That was 1889. The White House Christmas tree is now a tradition. And this beautiful Fraser fir came from the state of North Carolina. Emerson said that the ornaments of a house are the friends that frequent it. And this year, my friends from Second Genesis, a drug treatment center, helped out by making all the decorations and trimming the tree. More than anything else, Christmas at the White House has always been a children's holiday. American presidents, whether they were widowers like Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson, or beaming grandfathers like the Roosevelts and Dwight Eisenhower, have always made Christmas a celebration for young people. And that's true of another president who's used to having children around at Christmas.
The story of the birth of Jesus. But since that time, down through the years, there have been many legends and stories and poems, and there was a great writer, Dickens, who wrote a story that lives today and has lived for many years called Christmas Carol. When Franklin D. Roosevelt was president of this country, every year he used to read that story to his family. Now, I have another piece that's about Christmas that I'd like to read to you because I think it tells a great deal about this day. It's called One Solitary Life. You know what that means, just one single life. And I think it describes the meaning of Christmas. There was a man born of Jewish parents in an obscure village, the child of a peasant woman. He grew up in another obscure village. He worked in a carpenter's shop until he was 30 years old. And then for 3 years, he was what's called an itinerant preacher. He traveled around just preaching on street corners and wherever people would gather and listen. He never wrote a book. He never held an office of any kind. He never owned a home. He never had a family. He never went to college. He never put his foot inside a big city and never traveled more than 200 miles from the place where he was born. He never did any of the things that usually accompany greatness. And while still a young man, preaching as he was doing, the tide of popular opinion turned against him. His friends ran away from him. He was turned over to his enemies. They went through the mockery of a trial. His executioners gambled for the only piece of property he had, his coat. And when he was dead, he was taken down and laid in a borrowed grave. 19 wide centuries, 1900 years or more, almost 2,000 have come and gone. And today, he is the centerpiece of much of the human race. All the armies that have ever marched, all the navies that ever were built, all the parliaments that ever sat, all of the kings that ever reigned, have not affected the life of man upon this earth, all put together as powerfully as this one solitary life. I've always believed that the story of that young man of Jesus is a story of hope. If we live our lives for truth and for love, because that's what he told us to do, and for God, we never have to be afraid. God will be with us. He'll be a part of something much larger, much stronger, and much more enduring than any force that has ever existed on this earth. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
All right, children, who's going to be the first one to recite the alphabet? How about you, Ann?
A, B, C, D, E, F, E, F, E, F, Hudson. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
I want an aspirin-free pain reliever. What should I take?
Ask your doctor about Daytril, extra-strength Daytril tablets. Daytril is 100% aspirin-free.
Daytril?
It contains the same aspirin-free pain reliever hospitals use most.
Well, fine, but is it really strong?
You can't buy a stronger aspirin-free pain reliever. Look for extra-strength Daytril in this factory-sealed package. Ask your doctor about Daytril from Bristol Myers.
Am I glad I found out about Daytril?
Christmas in Washington will continue in a moment.
If you need a reason to stay up late tonight, we've got 2 words for you. Johnny Carson.
This is Channel 4 News Update with Bob McBride.
D.C. police now have begun their crackdown on drunk drivers. We'll tell you more about the new breathalyzer tests at 11. The FBI has found the man they wanted in the extortion phase of the Tylenol case. More on that at 11, too. Arch Campbell will answer your questions. Bob Ryan will tell about tonight's meteor showers and how to watch them. And some great sports action highlights from Scott Clark. Jim Vance, Bob McBride, Channel 4 News Nightside Edition, coming up at 11.
Hurry to the annual Evan Picone Classic Sale at Woody's. Save 25% on Mrs. and Petite Sportswear, now at Woodward and Lothrop.
Introducing new Velveeta slices.
What you got there, little brother? Velveeta slices. Velveeta comes in slices? Maybe I'll have one. Oh? Roger, if you'll trade me, I'll make your bed. I already made it. Want to try my roller skate? They're pink. How about if I don't tell Mom you used your purse for second base?
New Velveeta slices with a taste you just wouldn't trade for anything.
The case of Who's Pulling Up Fast One, Tuesday at 5.
This may come as a surprise to you, but Christmas was not always recognized as a time for rejoicing. The Pilgrim Fathers felt that the birth of Christ was too serious an event for a real joyous celebration. And in 1659, a law was passed in Massachusetts warning whomsoever shall be found observing any such day as Christmas, either by forbearing labor or by feasting, shall be fined 5 shillings. We're not sure that law is still on the books, but we have received assurance from the highest authority that it shall not be enforced tonight. And a good thing, too, because when the Shiloh Gospel Choir joins in song along with Ben Vereen and Debby Boone, it is a time for rejoicing.
Jesus was born today, born in a manger.
Though he was young, you say, he was no stranger. Soon he'll set me free, if I will believe. I'm so glad to see it is his birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Jesus was born today, born and oh, praise him. Shepherds and wise will say, they will adore was born today, born in a manger. Though he was young to say, he was no stranger. Jesus was born today, Jesus was born today, Jesus was born.
A symphony from the valleys of my heart. Let his praises ring. He set my life to music, and love is the melody.
Shout for joy, born in a stable, shout for joy, born in a stable, shout for joy. They laid him in a manger, shout for joy. They laid him in a manger, shout for joy. They named him King Jesus, shout for joy. They named him King Jesus, shout for joy. He was the Prince of Peace, Almighty Counselor, King of Kings. Shout for joy. Wise men brought him presents. Shout for joy. And every tried to find him. Shout for joy. He ran away to Egypt. Shout for joy. Mary wrote the donkey. Shout for joy. Joseph walked beside her. Shout for joy. The angels watching over. Shout for joy. Angels watching over. Shout for joy. Oh Lord, shout for joy. Oh Lord, shout for joy.
What month was Jesus born in?
Last month of the year. What month was Jesus born in? Last month of the year.
Oh, Lord, you got January,
February,
March, oh, Lord,
April, May, and June. You got July, August, September. You got October and November. You got the 25th day of December, and it's the last month of the year. You're born in outside paper. Last month of the year. You're born in outside paper. Last month of the year. You got January, February, March, so long. You got April, May, and June. You got July, August, September. You got October and November. You got the 25th day of December, and it's the last month of the year.
What month was Jesus born in?
Last month of the year. What month was Jesus born in? Last month of the year. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. Go tell it on my mind. Over the hills, they are everywhere. Go tell it on my mind. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. So we are going to see the King. So we are going to see the King. So we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, soon and very. Yeah, I don't know about you. Gonna see my King. Hey, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We're going to see. Oh, soon and very.
All right, children, who's going to be the first one to recite the alphabet? How about you, Ann?
A, B, C, D, E, F, E, F, E, F, Hudson.
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
From Atari, made especially for systems from Atari, the video game that lets you help E.T. get home, just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays from Atari.
Tuesday guest star Lorraine Newman.
That's the one I thought she was a bird.
Is a patient with a problem pregnancy.
They're building a nest.
On St. Elsewhere.
For every girl who dreams of becoming a woman, for every woman who remembers her youth, for every man who's ever been in love, NBC presents Pearl Bailey and Dana Hill in an unforgettable presentation of The Member of the Wedding, live 1 week from tonight at 9, 8 Central and Mountain on NBC.
Christmas is a time for optimism and hope.
But some of the most solemn moments in our nation's history occurred at this time of the year. It was on Christmas Eve in 1863 that Abraham Lincoln sat down in the White House to write a document that had more to do with the spirit of Christmas than almost any other document to that time: the Emancipation Proclamation. Nearly 80 years later, two world leaders met secretly in Washington to plan a campaign against the gravest threat that our nation had ever faced. Covering the Washington scene then was a young correspondent who went on to achieve a distinguished journalistic career. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Severide.
Thank you. Well, those then present remember that Christmas of 1941 in this city. For most of us, Christmas cheer was all mixed up with shock and foreboding and anger, because Pearl Harbor had happened less than 3 weeks before that, and all of Asia was exposed. Britain was under siege. The Russians had been driven far back. West Europe was overrun. The Middle East was in danger. How ask the children, now aware of Adolf Hitler, to believe in Father Christmas? But Prime Minister Churchill had arrived at the White House to meet with President Roosevelt. And those two men knew there exists another conspiracy, the eternal international conspiracy of goodwill. They appeared on the south portico of the White House for the 20th annual lighting of the national Christmas tree. Mr. Roosevelt asked the question directly: how can we light our trees? How can we give our gifts in a world at war? And he answered, our strongest weapon in this war is the conviction of the dignity and the brotherhood of man which Christmas Day signifies. And then he introduced the Prime Minister. The Churchill voice, which had helped to save London, which had echoed in the dismayed and silent parts of the world, was now heard by families all over this country. Fellow workers in the cause of freedom, he said, I spend this anniversary and festival far from my country, far from my family, yet I cannot truthfully say I feel far from home. And he then turned his thoughts to the children who awaited St. Nicholas on this Christmas Eve. And a recording of his words has been preserved by the Roosevelt Library at Hyde Park.
Let the children have their night of fun and laughter. Let the gifts of Father Christmas delight their play. Resolve that by our sacrifice and daring, these same children shall not be robbed of their inheritance or denied their right to live in a free and decent world. And so, in God's mercy, a happy Christmas to you all.
We were always meant to be. We were always.
Color and condition that should have been yours can't be.
When you're near, my heart is free.
Make it happen. Nice and easy. It sells the most. It conditions the most.
I'll keep you near.
Hello? Hi, I changed my mind about the party tonight. I want to go.
Did you look into those investments? I asked my broker. And? Well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And E.F. Hutton says that...
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Christmas in Washington is brought to you by Atari. the leader in home video games for fun your whole family can share. By E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And by Nice and Easy hair coloring. It sells the most, it conditions the most.
I think one of the most reassuring moments we could experience now would be if we could have a word from our president. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Reagan.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I am supposed to just say a couple of appropriate lines about this day, but nothing that I could say, or the day coming, Christmas Day, nothing that I could say would match what we have already heard here. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a second and tell a little anecdote. I made a telephone call Sunday, December 12th. It seems that in Bridgeport, Connecticut, for many years, the Police Athletic Association has maintained a place. There's a home, there's a manger, there are other things that go with Christmas. And at Christmas, during this Christmas season, there's a Santa Claus and there are elves making toys, and thousands of children come and visit that place, and thousands of toys are given to them as they go through. On Tuesday, December 7th, a suspected arsonist burned that down. Tuesday, December 7th, the mayor of Bridgeport called together people from the construction industry, carpenters, all the people, electricians, all the people that are associated with that kind of work. And they only had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday between then and that telephone call, slightly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, in which I called to thank and congratulate that mayor and the hundreds and hundreds of citizens of Bridgeport who had gathered there at that scene. They had gathered to reopen that institution, which had been rebuilt in those few days by more than 250 volunteers working around the clock. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. So we go just say Merry Christmas. Together.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mrs. Reagan. I know for all of us it has been such a pleasure to celebrate this wonderful, wonderful Christmas in Washington under such warm and memorable circumstances. And while the glow is still upon us, let's all sing, out there, here, everywhere.
Thursday, Danny goes on a rampage that could get him expelled on Fame.